Here's how you can use the call analysis tab in order to extract information from your calls and also trigger workflows after a call has ended. This is very important because you can trigger workflows that save specific information into your CRM or an external database after a call has ended. Not only that, but you can also have other types of workflows that, for example, send an email reminder or set up an event in your calendar if the intent that the agent determines from the call is something specific that you define. So here inside my agent settings, you're going to see the call analysis tab, and you're going to see that it says data retrieval from your calls. Extract information from each call to support analysis, reporting, or follow-up actions. As I mentioned, there's always going to be two variables by default, which are going to be the call summary and whether or not the call is successful. These are predefined by Dapta. Call summary just creates a summary of what the call was about, what was the intent of the user, and call successful just meaning if the call was successfully received by the caller. But what if we want to extract information, for example, the phone number of the person or what specific service they're interested in? For that, we can go here on add variable, and we're going to have different options. So for example, text, a selector, a Boolean, or a number. So the first option here, text, when I click on it, you're going to see a pop-up, and it's the same thing's going to happen for all the other options. But for text specifically, you're going to give your variable a name. So for example, I can say phone number. And then we can give a short and detailed instructions of what this variable needs to store. In this case, I can say something like extract the phone number provided by the caller and store it in this variable. This basically tells the AI that once the call ends, it's going to look over the transcript, and if it finds the phone number somewhere, it's going to store it in this variable. We can have a format example. For example, if we want to store the phone number in a specific format, like with the area code or the country code, then we can specify that over here. For now, I'm going to delete it and I'm just going to click confirm. And you might be wondering, where are you going to be able to see these variables? They're going to be inside of the call log. For example, here, these are past calls that have happened with this agent. And if I click on them, I should see phone summary and whether or not if the call was successful inside the logs. So here we can see the information of our call. Like I said, we're going to be able to see the summary and then dynamic variables. In this case, those are the only two variables that were set up, but we can add extracted data down here. Are going to be all the extra variables that we add. Similarly for Boolean, just that a Boolean means yes or no. Those are the only two options. Same thing, you would give a name. In the instruction, you would say when it would be yes, when it would be no. And finally, we have number. This is just going to extract only numbers. For example, here we have a pre-filled one that says user age. This could be in terms of years. And then we have a call analysis flow. And what this means is what I mentioned in the beginning. You can add a workflow that executes at the end of the call. For example, if you want all of those variables that are being retrieved to not only stay inside of Dapta and the call logs, but to go into something like a CRM or a Google Sheets, you would create a workflow for that. This information would be pushed into that workflow and it would be stored into a CRM. In that case, you would select a call analysis flow. You're going to see a list of the workflows that you have available. Obviously, previous to this, you should go into the Flow Studio and build a workflow and test it so that then you can configure it inside the call setting. And now I'm going to add a couple more variables. So for example, time of appointment. So store date and time when the appointment has been scheduled. And I'm going to hit confirm. Now I'm going to quickly test the agent and schedule an appointment. This is a dentist scheduling meeting agent. And we're going to see how the values look inside of my call log. So I just got off the phone with the agent and it booked an appointment for a specific date. So if we look here at the call logs, we can see some extracted data. For example, the phone number and the time of the appointment. This can now be transferred into something like a database or a CRM. So that's how you can use the call analysis tab to extract information from your call.